there to die for. Your life's on the line, so I'ma take yours. So who wanna blood dance with me? Get your body wrapped up or even a street fantasy. In the square, yo, you best to beware. Street fighter, we ain't playing over here. One-on-one, kid, you know you get finished. Round one, round two, just come and get with it. Your heart ain't cold stone, forget about the power. Battle this out to the 24th hour. Paying the price that you couldn't deal with. Cold-blooded killers in my lockdown clique. Got no time to waste, we taking time bombs. Street fighter 3 like a star in my arm. Take your first move, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world, a Street Fighter 3. The third chapter, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world, a Street Fighter 3. Make your first move, so what's it gonna be? You're trapped in a new world, a Street Fighter 3. The third chapter, so what's it gonna be?
Oh, that's weird. What about now? Not working? Everything working? Hopefully everything's working. Alright, good, good. Let me get some music in the back here. Just give me 1 second. That's some nice chill music to listen to. Sure, why not? Why not? There we go. Why am I crying? No, that's not. Oops, hang on. I messed up some things. Don't worry about it. Oh, it has lyrics. Oh, it has lyrics. I didn't know that. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Sure, we'll nah, you know what? Nah. I didn't know that had lyrics. I didn't mean to be sad. Okay, hang on. I need some chill music here. Oh, dark. Yeah, you know what? This'll do. Why am I excited? Why is everything wrong? Hang on a moment. I think my shortcuts are set wrong. Well, about that. I will explain that actually. But give me 1 second because I need to fix some shortcuts. Otherwise I'm gonna be sad all the time. Hang on, I'm going to the bathroom real quick. Just give me a second, going to the dressing room. Just gonna fix something real quick. Cause I don't know why I keep being sad and excited. I'm having mood swings apparently. Hang on. Oh, no. You're not supposed to see that. Okay, let's, yeah, we'll do this. I love Phoenix, right? Okay. Yeah, that's the reason I decided to do a chat stream today instead of DMC4. So the reason I did that is the music not working oh my god. What a great... Is the music not working either? Oh god. Why is everything... Never mind, it was working. Okay, good. It was working. Anyway. So, I wanted to spend today quickly to talk about some things. So the reason I decided to postpone the DMC4 stream today was because, honestly, still am not quite feeling it yet in terms of streaming. Just still a little tired. But we will definitely be continuing tomorrow. Because, I do want to finish 4. I really do want to finish 4. I want to finish all that. But here's some future plans for you guys to know of. So, I'm sorry if I'm very rambly. It's just I feel like you guys need to know this. Basically, as you can see on the time for the next stream for DMC4, I'm going to do my streams a lot earlier than usual from now on. Probably 3 to 4 hours earlier. Because honestly, in my time zone, whenever I finish a stream, it's really late for me. Not really late, but kind of late. It's right before my dinner time. And because of that, I stay tired for basically the rest of the day. And in short, I don't get any work done for the rest of the day. So I felt that need to change. I feel like a better idea is to just, you know, start streams earlier. Like streams in the morning. Because, well, I should do that if I want to get some work done, which goes into line with the plans I want to do this year. So, in short, this year, I want to try to get into video creation, video content, as well as doing more streams, really. Like, trying to expand, trying to do more. However, I'm not going to be able to do that at the streaming hour I keep doing, because I just end up getting more tired to really do anything else. So, yeah, that's the plans, really, to do my streams earlier and really to get into video creation. However, with me getting into video creation, I will say this means that maybe streams might be slightly shorter. So instead of the normal 4 hours, I think we might be doing 3-hour streams from now on. Yeah, that's what we're probably gonna do from now on. Probably 3 streams. Yeah, and because of that, expect more video creation in the future at the cost of some slightly shorter streams. Oh, and also expect streams to be a lot earlier from now on, because I really need to do. That's perfectly fine, Pinata. That's okay with me. Just come when you can. That's really all it is. This is basically for me. And even if you can't come, you can support me by other ways as well. I've also decided to do a few things as well. I know I said before that I didn't want to open donations because it felt kind of, kind of wrong to ask for donations when I'm such a small VTuber. But honestly, I think I want to. Now that I think about it, like, now I'm not gonna beg for it. Hell no, I don't like doing that. But I feel that it's a good time to, because like, if people want to support me, it's good to have there. Otherwise, like, it's no harm. That's how I see it. It's no harm to just have the link there. People want to do it, then it's up to them. And if people don't, it's perfectly fine. That's how I see it, really. Question is, how do I make a donation link in the first place? But yeah. What else are you to say? Oh, right. What videos am I even making in the first place? Basically, I'm gonna be making a lot of my own stuff, like gaming videos, possibly some creative works, and I don't know from there. I still need to think about many things, really. What else do I need to say? I think that should be it. Oh wait, no. I know something else I need to say. I'm hoping this year to expand myself if I can. And what I mean by that is I want to try to, be more social on platforms if I can. whether it be Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, etc. Though most likely I'm probably gonna use Twitter, assuming Twitter doesn't explode by Mr. Muskian Man, the Musketeer. Yeah. What else is there? Man, I should have written all this down before I started streaming. Exactly. Is there anything else I need to say, really? I guess not really in terms of the stream itself. I guess I could talk about a bit of the things I did in New Year's. Well, if you guys are cool with that. I'm also looking at like some stuff as well, because I wonder if I can like oh, thanks PayPal. You can't change your name. Yeah, PayPal. You cannot change your name on PayPal. Thanks. You need legal documents. Good old PayPal. Thanks, PayPal. What is a good place for that stuff? Thank you, coffee. That's a good idea. That's a good idea, Hebe. Oh, Patreon's a good idea too, actually. But I guess I think for Patreon though, I don't like it as much. I mostly like the idea of having a tip jar. That's how I see it. I don't like the idea of a Patreon right now. But coffee sounds amazing. I want to do that. I'm not going to do DeviantArt. Because I don't really exactly make art, though, to be honest with you. I might, to be honest. I'm thinking about getting into art more this year. Just, just fix this up. Only bats. God, honestly, that gives me a really good idea, but I'm probably not going to do it until, well, not even until, if I'm successful. That's a really good idea, though, as a joke, like making an OnlyFans with pictures of vampires and bats. That's really good. Oh, I love your idea, Pinata. I love that idea, actually. Alright, let me just... Just try to set up coffee real quick. Hello? Okay. Coffee page is done. Can I set how much the minimum is? Because I don't like the idea of it, the minimum being $5. That's kind of dumb. I want it to be $1. Can I really not set it to be $1? Hang on. Really? I can't? Oh my god. Oh, that's annoying. Hang on. You have to. You have to, man. I don't accept this. I don't accept that the minimum has to be $5. I guess it has to be $5. Wow. Okay. Alright. Oh, well, that's dumb. Oh, well. I'll figure that out later. Well, let me just paste the coffee link in the description. Also, Jesus Christ, how did my dumb post about Bury the Light get to 30 views? I made that video in like 5 minutes. Come on. It's kind of funny. You know what? That's perfectly fair. That's valid. It is Bury the Light. Yeah, the algorithm likes Virgil. Alright. So, links there now. Coffee links there. But yeah. Obviously, don't donate if you can't. And don't donate if you don't want to. Like, just making that clear. Making it perfectly clear. It's for tips only. That is all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Why? Oh god, hang on. Hang on. What the hell, coffee? I need to get rid of that quickly. Don't click that link. Please don't click that link. Thanks, coffee. Thank you so much for doxing me. All right. I swear to you, I also didn't put that name in the first place. Is it fixed now? Please tell me it's fixed now. Okay, yeah, it's fixed now. Okay. Yes, Padaru Vampire. Are you treating me with my own address? Of course I know where to live. Okay. I think the page should be okay now. Please. Also, that's not a vampire. That's Ganyu, because I have an unhealthy obsession with Ganyu from the Genshin Impact. The impact that Genshins. Okay, good. Good. Yes. I've also thought about, like, watching videos with you guys, but I don't know if you guys would be up to that either. Just some dumb videos, some things I'd like to watch. Oh, this completely slipped my mind. So, because I want to get into video creation, one of the videos I want to make is a series of Devil May Cry videos, like a retrospective of, you know, how I grew up with Devil May Cry, my childhood with it, and how I enjoyed the games, as well as a basic review of each game. Not a professional review, just, you know, what I liked about it, as I'm not very articulate with my words, nor do I know a lot of game design. But because of that, we're gonna have to play some cursed things in 2023. What cursed things? Well, we're gonna have to play. we're gonna have to play. Yes. Why is it covering my face? This thing. This elephant in the room here. This horrible stain to humanity. So first we're gonna have to play that after 4. And then after that... we're gonna have to play this, this masterpiece. I will in a moment. Hey God, I can fix it. Give me a second. And then we're gonna have to play this this monstrosity too. Never mind, go back. But don't worry, everyone. Don't worry. Because after this, after this one, we're gonna play one of my favorite games of all time. We're gonna play this, of course. I don't know why it's so tiny, but there you go. We're gonna play this after those two. This beautiful game. I think I am going to cry. But the reason I have to do this is because, well, I'm gonna make those videos. And to do the full series justice, I have to, oops, I have to dig through the crap. I really have to dig through the crap. But, you know what? I think there is something we should watch. So, let me just try to pull this up real quick. Real talk, maybe. Real talk, maybe. Maybe I'll have some fun with enemies not being paper. Maybe we'll do it on the hardest difficulty. Wait, do you even unlock anything other than normal on 2 when you first started? Do you even? Hang on, I want to check that. Can you even unlock other modes other than normal in the beginning? You know what? That's very valid. That's very valid, Yada. Oh my god, there's no hard mode. I have to pick normal. If you want normal, you have to beat the game. Sorry, if you want hard, you have to beat the game. Well, hang on. Give me a second here. I can show you the DMC2 experience. Let me just, we're not gonna play it now, but I can show you a preview of what it looks like. Just give me a second. Give me a second. It's taking a bit to load. Don't mind the audio in the back. Don't worry about that. This is totally DMC2. Don't worry about it. Listen, we're not gonna play it twice. We're not gonna play it twice. I'm sorry to all the people who want me to be in pain. We're not gonna play it twice. Hang on, let me just fix something real quick. Yeah, you see this? See this game? Oh, why is checkup being covered? Hang on. That's not what should be happening. Chat, where are you? There you are. Huh? Chat, what is happening? Why is chat covered? I wanted to make a joke and everything broke. There we go. $100 for a slow one. Finish the game as slowly as possible. You see this game? This is the DMC2 experience. Yeah, this is live footage of DMC2, guys. I think I've made my point. I think I've made my point here. Yes. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to start playing those games, but... What? I don't want to show a video, actually. I want to show this because I feel it's good context to what's going to happen in the future. Let me just put myself here. We're going to be watching some of this. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. This. I need to put chat at the very top. There we go. I feel this is good context to watch. If anyone knows Matt McMuscles, then you'll know what this is. Oh, thanks, ads. Oh, audio. Hang on. I'll fix that. Give me a second. Hang on, let me... That good?
And now here's Little V Mills playing the iconic theme from Devil May Cry 2.
That good?
Wait, what iconic song from Devil May Cry 2?
You know, the song, the Devil May Cry 2 song.
Dude, does Devil May Cry 2 even have songs?
Yeah, there is the Infested Chopper, I think.
Listen.
Okay, what about now?
When you know what the hell you're doing, man, I'm out of here.
Hey, no, you come back here, we're not done
Yes,
yet.
it is. It is the DMC5 Dante code.
Now, it has been, 6 days since we last talked about a Capcom game here on What Happened, but thanks to Big Boss Trey Adams at the Flophouse VIP Patreon, this week we are table hopping into the story of how Capcom almost killed one of its most influential franchises that originally spawned at one of their other most influential franchises. This is how Devil May Cry 2 nearly sealed the fate, yet at the same time went on to reignite the sword-slashing series with sexy style. DMC, as some may know, originally started as an attempt to craft a new Resident Evil title, RE4 in fact. But with the radical changes that Windex enthusiast and man who still has me blocked, Hideki Kamiya instituted, it was decided to spin the game off into its own thing. Capcom was, and still is, all about producing sequels for just about everything except for Spyborgs, and it was much the same here when it came to their newest star, the Demon Hunter Dante. See, they were very confident in DMC's chances at retail for a few reasons, with said reasons being it was directed by the person who helmed RE2. It was an exclusive for Sony's follow-up console, which was pretty popular. And lastly, they knew that
Dark Soul with light!
would go on to be a cultural milestone moment that would define a generation.
Should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
So, a team was put together to start working on a sequel, but unlike most video game publishers or businesses in general, this was done before Dante had yet to bust out a single stinger. Yes, a follow-up was greenlit before the original had even been released, which was incredibly ballsy of Capcom, but given the eventual success of Dante's first adventure, they were right to do so. Because there wasn't any real reaction to the first game yet, no feedback to draw upon, the team were given pretty much carte blanche to do whatever, which is one of the main problems that plagued Devil May Cry 2. Lack of any real direction and a team that was incredibly inexperienced. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in Devil May Cry 3142 Graphic Arts, various staff that had worked on the series since its inception shone some light on the dark soul of the project. One of these staff members was legendary Capcom artist.
Yes, I do remember that.
Detailed just why the team that was put together maybe wasn't the best choice. Capcom had traditionally been split into two main pillars, the arcade division and the console division. But with the PS2's increased processing power and a change in the nature of Capcom's arcade game market meant a company-wide shift of human resources from arcade to console. With the company's big hits at the time like Resident Evil and DMC, many of the arcade fighting game teams were switched over to teams making games for the home consoles. These former arcade division employees were put in charge of the DMC sequel. This was a problem because with all their design experience coming from arcades, quick quarter-munching experiences that could be completed in 30 minutes or less, it left the team with little knowledge on how to craft a beefier level-based action game. For context, Capcom's late-era arcade titles were things like Power Stone and Spawn in the Demon's Hand. Projects that wouldn't have adequately prepared them for tackling the complexities of creating a sequel for a franchise that they had no hand in creating. What's worse is that pretty much every major staff member who contributed to DMC1 was absent on the sequel, with some not even being aware that DMC2 was a thing that was happening until months after the fact.
Oh my
Kami,
god.
Kobayashi, pretty much all the experienced hands within the console division never even touched this thing. In their stead, Capcom put fresh new hire Tsuyoshi Tanaka in a producing role, with directing duties being handled by, question mark? This is one of the still remaining mysteries which clouds Devil May Cry 2, as the original director, to this day, has never been publicly named. Some have speculated it was Shinji Mikami or the Windex Master himself, even though none of that makes any sense for literally all the reasons. What we do know is that the initial team makeup was composed of people who had worked on Capcom's arcade fighters, but beyond that, the original director remains an enigma, trapped in a riddle, trapped in a red coat. Now, earlier, I mentioned this new team was given maybe a bit too much freedom in their approach to a sequel, and Ikeno gave some insight into their thought process at the time, which was many of them didn't even understand or like aspects of Devil May Cry.
Pinata,
At
that poor
first,
friend.
The protagonist wasn't even going to be Dante, but rather some guy with a green jacket. Looking back at the game's fundamentals, like the visuals and the overall design, we didn't take the parts of DMC1 that players wound up loving into account. So the second game felt very artificial. I think our attitude was a little too much, we're gonna make it how we want to. Dante's sudden change into a more taciturn or reserved character was the producer's decision, because he didn't like the I was about to say joke-assing joke-cracking wise-ass Dante from the first game. The team agreed, and that was the direction we went in. Dante's sudden silence almost seemed to imply that something terrible had happened between the events of 1 and 2. Aside from just changes to characterization, the team struggled in another area, level design. Since the original DMC was built off the skeleton of a Resident Evil game, multi-tiered level structure, backtracking, and puzzle items were prominently featured. This new team, having zero experience designing in that style, simply made large, mostly barren stages that had little functionality or detail, leading to a very
Oh my god,
empty
that game looks so
world
ugly.
by
I'm not gonna
comparison.
lie. Oh, no. Goodbye, ad.
Things meandered on like this for about a year, with the game and team never really coalescing, and with only 6 months left in the proposed deadline. This is when Capcom higher-ups
God,
took
why
a
does
good,
2 look
hard
worse than
look at the
1?
project and realized it was probably going to get an F ranking.
Oh
in
my
the
god, I
style.
forgot about the style
Therefore, they
screen.
stepped in to try
Oh,
and course correct. Now,
God, it's
I
so
know what you're
edgy.
thinking, oh man, this must be the part where things got really fucked. And in a nice twist, no, it's not. It is in fact where DMC2 got unfucked, or less fucked.
Oh my god, I
I'd say.
forgot about the
With everyone
tank.
else at Capcom
Oh.
kinda busy, or maybe when asked if they wanted to take over directing duties and replying with,
Oh, actually,
I'm
this is a
fucking
little long,
not."
actually. Hang on, let me fix
Itsuno
this.
was then hired
Just a
to
little bit.
reorganize the project, with the older
There we go.
mystery director being hoofed out in the process. Now it's true that Itsuno also came from an arcade background, having worked on both Rival Schools and Power Stone, among many others, but at the end of the day still had a ton of experience leading on big projects. There was a lot of drama over my replacing of the old director, and I have nothing but bad memories about that part in particular. But basically, they said that nothing was getting done and had needed to change. The scenario hadn't been written, the cutscenes had yet to be shot, and they hadn't decided what to do about Dante's Devil Trigger. They had determined that the Stinger attack was essential, so at least they had someone who was going to take care
Wow,
of that.
someone had
And with
brains.
the other
Someone
attacks,
thought of
everything
that.
looked on
Stinger was
top.
important.
Speaking of attacks and combat, it's another aspect of this sequel that the team felt needed to change, despite it being an integral part of the first game. See, when Capcom started
In all
receiving
seriousness,
fan feedback and reaction
there's
from
probably some bad
DMC1,
circumstances with
it revolved
DMC2.
around its difficulty, as there was really nothing exactly like it on the market. Dante's Quest challenged you to stylishly kill enemies without ever getting touched, which was something not every player was accustomed to. So it was decided to lower the overall difficulty. And when I say lower,
Yes.
I mean spare your guns!
I mean, I get game development is hard, but I can't help but joke that Stinger was probably one of the best things about 2.
Never stopped shoot banging. This distinction is what caused some to call DMC2 the best third-person shooter released in 2003. And unfortunately, this was something Itsuno either didn't or couldn't really change. The hardcore fans of DMC1 weren't exactly happy, but newcomers to the series liked it a lot. The people
God, if
especially
DMC2 was your
the ones
first
who
game,
tried
holy
DMC1
crap, man.
definitely
Imagine playing the
and
others
quit
in
partway
comparison.
through. I read a lot of survey responses along the lines of DMC1 was awesome, but I just wasn't feeling it. I felt it in DMC2 though, so thanks. I need to meet these fans. Seriously, which part were you feeling there, bro? This? With half a year left, there were only so many things that could be addressed and finished, and considering the overall quality of DMC2, I'm not gonna lie, I would have loved to have played the original pre-Itsuno version just to prove to myself that I could. With that said, it's actually surprisingly not all bad, because under Itsuno, some novel features that started here went on to become DMC mainstays. This includes switching weapons mid-combat, evasive maneuvers like rolling, flipping, and wall running assigned to a button, and finally, the introduction of Bloody Palace mode, which is something that's now expected.
Oh
in
my
all
god,
features
2
of
starred
DMC.
Bloody Palace?
But as much as Itsuno's involvement,
Thought that was
there were
3.
plenty of other lamentable decisions that still managed to slip through. A big back-of-the-box selling point was the addition of a second playable character, something so groundbreaking and bleeding edge that it would need its own dedicated disc to become a reality. Lucia was a crimson-haired counterpart to Dante, who he would sometimes suddenly bump into during the course of the game. Putting the Lucia disc into your PS2 would then allow you to play the game as Lucia, and That's it. Minor differences aside, both discs contain almost identical data, so it's been rumored that this was simply a marketing tactic to make players believe they were getting tons of bangs for their bucks. Now, while this being the case was never confirmed by a Capcom employee, I mean, yeah, it was. Strange that Final Fantasy X, a cutscene and dialogue-filled 40-plus hour RPG released 2 years earlier, was able to fit on a single PS2 disc, but DMC2's 5-hour Odyssey could not. Now, as for Lucia
Oh, thank
herself,
God.
well,
If DMC2 is only 5 hours, thank God it'll only take me 2 streams to beat.
Cutscenes and story were hastily put together leading up to the game's launch. This left her designer, Ikeno, lamenting the fact that they were not able to expand upon her character. Sadly, the characters in DMC2, Dante included, are fairly tight-lipped and never really take any drastic action. I feel like if we had included a scene that showed how the standoffish Lucia is actually kind at heart, she would have been a more appealing character.
Real talk, I want Lucia to come back in a future DMC game. It is. It's a poor man's virtual mode.
Now, with all that out of the way, let's just
It's Dollar Tree virtual mode.
DMC2 had Diesel brand clothing.
Oh my God! I forgot.
Diesel brand clothing? Diesel branded clothing seems
Oh my
like
God.
something of an odd fit for a Capcom game.
I forgot there was Diesel clothing.
Product placement in their titles, but in this case there
Oh my
was
God.
a surprisingly simple but still nevertheless stupid reason it's in there. It was because Tanaka-san, the producer, used to work for them. It was a collaboration that made good use of his last job. People on both sides talked at the time and felt that DMC2 and Diesel's visual styles would work well together and would be quite appealing to the
I
casual
forgot I had
audience.
Diesel
Seeing
clothing.
Dante and Lucia wearing Diesel fashion on screen was very cool. There's something neat about watching them run through the game's story while wearing those clothes.
Listen,
It
guys,
reminds me of RE.
I know you guys might have your
And
debates
I
about
don't
which
know who
Dante
this
looks the
appeals
best,
to. Who looks at a
but I
shelf
think we can
full
agree
of
which one looks the
games,
worst, the Diesel
clutching their
clothing
hands
one,
and
because
goes,
my
"I
God,
used to buy a
that
game
looks
and
wrong.
bought some bomb-ass Diesel jeans."
Oh yeah, I got this. What a pimp.
Anyway, despite, everything, Itsuno did the impossible. In a mere 6 months, DMC2 became unplayable to playable, albeit a very unexciting action game filled to burst with infested tanks, helicopters, tanks, and more hella tanks. And the reviews were, mixed, to say the least, with many outlets
Mixed.
citing it as the most disappointing game of 2003, with others, well, not going as far, still marked it as a fairly weak follow-up. Dante, even though gaining one of his sharpest designs, was criticized for his lack of styling and/or profiling, with many fans not appreciating his attitude adjustment.
Till next time, son of Sparta.
A dynamo of charisma. Complaints were also lobbied against the superfluous second disc, boring bosses, uninspired level design, and especially the brain-dead difficulty. But especially the overabundance of infested... God, whatever. Now, despite the negative reviews, DMC2 was still a financial success, really the only success that matters to most publishers, as it wound up posting similar numbers.
Oh
to
my
DMC2.
God.
At the end of
How
the
did
day,
it sell
was really this,
1.7 million
thirst for
copies?
Dante, which saved the franchise from falling over the edge into obscurityville. Who else is down there? Who is in there? Oh, haven't seen you in a while. So, in a nice twist
Oh
to
my
the story,
God.
that's a rarity here on what happened. DMC2's reception is what reinvigorated the series to begin with, as Itsuno was determined to right the wrongs when he first wielded Rebellion. Part of me was dissatisfied because I hadn't started with the project from day one. As far as I was concerned, that didn't amount to a proper level of involvement with DMC, so I asked the company if they would give me DMC 3 from the start, and they agreed. Without DMC 3, I would be known as Itsuno, the director of Devil May
Oh my
Cry
God.
2, as far as the series is concerned.
Thank
Many
God.
of the same arcade staff who cut their teeth on console development with Itsuno joined him on Dante's Awakening as well, and they all rallied around the idea of going back to his cockier roots, infusing the game with a youthful energy and providing deeper combat mechanics. Making this a prequel to the first game also then logically placed DMC2 at the end of the series timeline, chalking it up to, yeah, in the future Dante, he doesn't really talk. That's, hey, look over here! He's doing silly things with missiles and shit. So you can say that this unfortunate bumbling step in the franchise is what informed the rest of the series going forward, which only got progressively more eccentric every time. So in that way, DMC2 is surprisingly important. This does of course remind you all that DMC2 is available in stores on the Devil May Cry collection, as well as a standalone package for $24.99 on the Nintendo Switch for...
Oh, I forgot! DMC2 came out on the Switch!
Stylishly troubled video games, movies, or consoles...
For 25 bucks!
Below, rainstorm down into my Twitter, or
Oh
take
my
a motorcycle
God.
ride over to the Flophouse
I forgot!
VIP
It came to
Patreon
the
become a
Switch!
Big Boss and nominate the subject of a future episode of What Happened. See you next time, kids, and
I think it costs more than DMC3. Oh, hey God. And there's one more I want to watch. There's one more I want to watch. Oh, hi mobile game ads. Hi dumb mobile game ad. Leave. There we go.
Welcome to another dope, crazy, savage, and smoking sick episode of What Happened. The show
Hello?
where we chronicle the...
Oh, there we go. Okay, hang on. Let me do this again.
Welcome to another dope, crazy, savage, and smoking sick episode of What Happened, the show where we chronicle the catastrophes, document the disasters, and recount the regrettables. And if we're talking regrets, there's a few companies that have made more decisions that would
Oh,
be better
Pepsi
off
3D, not
just
again.
not happening than Capcom. Therefore, this week's subject is going to take the combined might of two brightly colored bone-based mascots to hack and slash their way through it. So, without further ado, let's get crazy. I'm Matt Muscles, and I'm going to tell you what happened.
Hey, Matt, please allow me to interject here and fill your dark soul with light.
Oh, it's Derek from Stop Skeletons from...
I love Stop Skeletons from Fighting too.
Derek, it's me, Derek. I figured it was about time I invaded one of your videos for a change, huh? Besides, this story is more than just a story of one game. It is the story of a legendary video game company and their struggle with relevancy between two sides of the planet. And it's a story that my partner Grace and I have researched a little bit about. So allow me to be the Virgil to your Dante, Matt, old buddy.
So let's talk about what happened to DMC Devil May Cry. Capcom. Remember the mid-aughts where Capcom...
Okami!
God could do no wrong?
Yeah, they had an absolutely...
God, Okami is another game I need to play on stream. I love that
I
game.
didn't mean those games. I meant like Dead Rising and stuff like that. There were some bad ones too.
But it wasn't entirely their fault. This point in time was the middle of a hard decade for Japan-based developers and publishers. The Japanese markets were shifting, and games with a, I guess, Japanese flavor stopped making sense as the years went on. For example, in 2002, it was estimated that half of all video games sold were bought by the Japanese, but by 2010, when DMC was officially announced, the Japanese people only bought 10% of all games sold. For instance, you know Street Fighter 4?
Yeah, that was a mega hit, right?
Well, in 2008, the first console edition of Street Fighter 4 sold about 200,000 copies in Japan and about 2.3 million overseas. The times they were a-changin', and this is where our story begins proper with the release of Devil May Cry 4 in 2008.
Devil May Cry 4 represented Capcom's first big return to a classic IP in a while. Building off the critical and commercial success of Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening, the series had already been brought back from the brink after the mess that was Devil May Cry 2. Capcom was very optimistic for the sales potential of the franchise. And they really had every reason to be. The God of War series showed no signs
Oh,
of
that's
stopping.
another series I need to play.
It was
God of
a
War.
global appeal to character action games. Not only that, it would be the series' first time on HD consoles.
That's right. We said consoles. This was the first time the demon-killing stylings of Dante would see release on non-Sony machines, adding the Xbox 360.
Don't worry about it.
Mix at launch. HD development
Doesn't matter that much anyway. It's out of context.
All those fancy over-the-top cutscenes weren't cheap. So when it was all said and done, 2008 Devil May Cry 4 sold a total of 3 million copies worldwide, which ain't a number to kick out of bed, but wasn't dramatically better than the last game.
You see, Dante's Awakening topped out at around
It does.
2.3 million units. Though, wait, no, things weren't adding up at all. DMC4 was available on 3 different formats, which should have resulted in a way better style rating. What? Just an A? Capcom was hoping for a triple S. So it's not like DMC4 was a flop or something. Wait, did Capcom think DMC4 was a flop or something?
It's kind of hard to say, but yeah, kinda. I mean, when it comes to the whole saga of DMC, Devil May Cry, and reboots in general, the first thing publishers should do is properly read the room.
So what is the thought process here? Well, most would say, maybe that's just the upper limit of how many people are actually into DMC because...
Wrong, says Capcom. The problem is that people are just tired with the current style of Devil May Cry.
No, we're not. We're
right, because game reviewers are complaining about the cheesy dialogue and the silly characters.
Oh no, don't get rid of that. That's what gives the series its...
Yes, and we can make the combat less complicated for newcomers.
Hey, can you even hear us? Hello?
Yes, this is brilliant. Oh my god. Everyone, start picking out your yachts.
God, I feel fake sweat in my soul.
Oh, wait, no. Oh. So, what happened? Devil May Cry is at its core a complicated combo-based franchise that requires high execution, has weird over-the-top storylines, and is also merciless.
Exactly. Never listen to the critics.
It really stung when God of War did something similar, appealing to the West, but resulted with godlike sales numbers. But regardless, Capcom thought there was a problem and felt that Devil May Cry 4 should have done better commercially. And
Scum.
Capcom, of course, had a surefire solution.
Appeal to the West!
This edict, spearheaded by one KJ Inafune,
Oh god, Inafune.
documented with stalker-like precision over at SSFF,
Oh, yes, thank you. Too kind, thank you.
resulted in such other what-happened fodder like this, and that, and even more.
Oh
of
god,
this.
Streetwise.
Despite all those games being massive mistakes, Capcom producers were already acknowledging this in 2009, by the way, that there was a problem with Western versus Eastern development coalition cooperations. But there was still plenty of gas left in the tank, and Capcom had their sights turned westward and just couldn't turn the car around in time to stop all this. So, for a rebooted Devil May Cry, they decided to let some action game luminaries handle their precious IP. Ones that had made...
God, imagine Devil May Cry made by Platinum. That'd be pretty damn cool.
Now we enter Ninja Theory. Now, while they're relatively recognized today, back in 2010, their name would elicit a hearty who? Well, their previous efforts included 2007's Heavenly Sword.
Yo, Heavenly Sword's actually not bad. I kinda like it.
Its somewhat simple combat and the fact it seemingly prioritized elaborate story and facial animation technology instead. Then there's their 2010 effort, Enslaved.
Oh, Enslaved's also not bad.
Criticized for its somewhat simple combat, but lauded for its elaborate...
Oh no, you're thinking of Team Ninja, not Ninja Theory for Ninja Gaiden.
Well, this.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
Oh
even
my
though
god.
their combat chops were arguably spotty, at this point in time, there weren't many Western options who could really come to grips with the legacy of Devil May Cry's combat anyway. Rumors, however, of a DMC reboot began circulating in 2010 with the...
Oh, I agree with you. This should be Ninja Gaiden 4. Oh, speaking of Ninja Gaiden, I need to buy the collection if that's on sale.
Worse if they tried. By this point, Capcom's big Western campaign was pretty busy being a massive embarrassment. Both Bionic Commando and Spyborgs sold dismally the previous year, and Dark Void, released earlier in 2010, was hot on its heels to sell even worse. Not to mention, the original Devil May Cry creator Hideki Kamiya and his new studio Platinum Games at this point had proven themselves to the public with the incredible Bayonetta. So, by the time this Game Informer report hit, Capcom fans were already starting to push back against the inevitable. DMC was basically doomed, at least from a PR standpoint, before it even had a chance to prove itself.
So, again, in a...
Read the room!
style moment, we're not sure what Capcom was expecting when they officially unveiled the debut trailer.
Oh
for
god, that
DLC
trailer.
Devil
That
May Cry.
trailer. Oh my god.
Yes, to a very mixed response. And when we say mixed, we mean it was colossally one-sided. First off, you have a trailer that, let's be honest here, didn't look all that good. The character models felt off. It showed zero real-time gameplay. It wasn't made by Capcom and was yet another attempt to have a product appeal exclusively to the West, when all signs pointed to stop doing that. This
Dante never smokes.
miasma of negativity that always permeated the news.
Dante never
whenever
smokes.
Devil May Cry was brought up, and would be something it never fully recovered from. Oh, and one last thing, the guy that helped launch this whole Westward
Oh god,
expansion thing
Inafune.
specifically was heavily involved in DMC's redesign. KJ Japan is over Inafune. He said, "Yep, good luck putting out all my fires. Peace out." And left Capcom literally a month later to start working on his own massive successes.
Even if Ninja
Oh.
Theory were making the best playing action game ever created, and they were not, they still had to contend with fans who were very not into the tonal
Oh,
shift
my
of
number
characters
9.
in the world. When fans thought of Dante, they thought of things like this. And the concept art, images, and designs coming out of DMC were giving them this. This, however, actually turned out to be Capcom's doing rather than Ninja Theory's. I can't emphasize this more. Ninja Theory were basically just journeyman developers giving Capcom what they wanted. Conceptualizing the new Dante during development saw the art team coming back with designs that closely mimicked his original.
Yo, those actually look kind of cool.
Capcom Japan, including Devil May Cry 3 and 4 director Hideaki Itsuno.
That actually looks kind of cool, not gonna lie.
Ninja Theory to explore more alternative options. So while it's easy to blame the new developer at the wheel, they were mandated by Capcom to overhaul everything in terms of art and aesthetics.
But of course, the fans didn't know this at the time and were looking for any and all reasons to tear into the game. So Capcom would need to be very cautious from now on so as not to further goddammit. So here is the last and maybe the most damaging aspect of DMC's development.
Oh, I remember you.
And Tionades. He, shall we say, was not remotely prepared for the backlash against DMC's new direction. Or, maybe that's too generous. On VentureBeat, shortly after the game's really hated reveal trailer, a question was posed.
So how do you feel about the fan reaction to DMC? Tamim took a drag of his cigarette, and then without blinking and without pausing to exhale the smoke from his mouth, he said, "I don't care."
First off, I'm suddenly really starting to believe the rumors that the new Dante was based off of you, and second of all,
Oh my god.
you probably did care about their game selling to meme, Grin, Bionic, and Airtight games. I'm just saying that catering to your fans is not always a bad thing, especially since the whole point of this reboot was that so that DMC would grow the fan base and not shrink it. But the Tamim train doesn't end here.
And now it's time for What Else Did Tamim Say? Well,
the essence of Devil May Cry is all about cool. It's about Dante being cool, making you feel cool when you're playing it. And so the combat and the style system and everything is integral to that. But what was cool 12 years ago? I think that was when the first game came out. Isn't cool anymore.
anyway, Tamim goes on to say,
If Dante, dressed as he was,
Oh my
walked
god.
into any bar outside
No.
of Tokyo, he'd get
No,
left out.
no.
while the core of these statements have some merit, this is not what you should say to convince Capcom fans that their franchise is safe. And when you think of video games as a medium, it seems as long as you make great games, generally you're fine if you keep doing the same thing over and over.
Okay, the next quote I want to treat you to is from a mid-2012 PS3 magazine. At this point in our story, Ninja Theory had been receiving death threats, so I can't exactly blame him for this, but it starts out good. Kinda.
Usually the worst creative crimes are made when you're trying to make a game for someone else. Some perceived demographic that, in all likelihood, doesn't actually exist. From my point of view, there's only one way to try and make a successful game, and that's to make the game that you want to play. A game that everyone involved is proud of.
Okay,
I mean,
that's
part
fine.
of that
From
shit.
point of view, I
Oh.
don't care if it sells 1,000 units or 2 million.
Oh.
Oh no, Tamim. Oh, baby, no. Now,
No.
to be fair, this article was full of weirdness. Like, the interview really asked...
Why are you zooming in on the booba? Why are you zooming in?
History with massive tits.
To To which he replied,
I've got nothing against big tits. I'd rather have my head resting on a pair right now.
okay, duly noted.
Okay.
While we applaud to Meme for living his devil-may-care gimmick, all of this was a risky attitude to put forward if you want, you know, your company to continue to exist.
Anyway, it might not surprise you, but Tamim did less and less interviews as time went on.
I wonder why.
Really?
I know. And that spanned a good 2 whole years of solid development. During that time, we actually saw subtle changes to Dante. His voice, attitude, and other visual aspects were tweaked, despite Tamim claiming he didn't care about fan feedback.
My name, by the way, is Dointe. But you can call me Dante the Demon Killer.
Dointe.
One of the more evident changes was Dante's body type. He went from being somewhat scrawny and emaciated in his debut to then suddenly packing absolute beef stuff by the game's launch. So at least improvements were happening, minor as they were. Other trailers, like the one from E3 2012, seemingly put more emphasis on story and characters. And, well, story was always kind of viewed as secondary or even tertiary in the Devil May Cry universe, with action being the primary focus. Dante was just a half-demon hybrid that liked killing things and being crazy. He was never much deeper than that, and he didn't really need to be. But then Capcom decided that he really needed to be. Now he's a misunderstood rebel who has a rough exterior, but secretly wants to find his place in the world, but needs the proper motivation to do so to fulfill his destiny. And
Oh God, I forgot.
Capcom and their fan base. Dante's appeal was that he was
That Virgil.
These more serious, story-focused trailers sold many new fans on the franchise because it certainly wasn't pleasing the diehards.
Now, while all this was well and good theoretically to appeal to potential new fans of the series on a visual level, gameplay obviously required a redesign as well, which is a far trickier and some would say pointless endeavor. Lead combat designer Ronnie Tucker said,
The goal of DMC was to make a system that allowed newcomers to create their own elaborate combos, but still offer multiple elements veterans can enjoy.
However, this is like saying you want all your groceries in one bag, but don't want the bag to be heavy. The black and white of it is that high execution character action games like this are not meant to be friendly to newcomers, and designing a system around tackling this
Normally I would say spoilers, but I mean, who cares about spoilers for these two games? DMC 2 and DMC Reboot.
Well with the people who cut their teeth on things like DMC.
Who cares?
Okay, so now would be a good time to sum up everything so far that was working against DMC's success. A developer fans were unsure of, a very divisive art style and tone, combat that was trying to appeal to all ages, and constantly being compared to what was seen as the real action games coming out of Platinum, so things really couldn't get any worse until they did. Ninja Theory's last game, Enslaved: Odyssey to the West, exclusively ran on the Unreal 3 engine, which was, pretty standard at the time. What was not standard, however, was its inability to handle 60 frames per second, because in terms of pure design, it was never initially intended to run games at such a frame rate. So the fact that Ninja Theory were using it for DMC was, cause for concern. Capcom knew there was no sense in hiding it, because as soon as they showed real-time gameplay, people would
Oh my
use
God.
their eyes. Especially longtime fans of the series who were accustomed to the silky smooth action that all the previous entries featured. But not all was lost. While 30 frames per second would be the default on consoles, if players really needed to double or triple that, they could just purchase the Steam version. Yes, with the power afforded by PCs, DMC would run.
Which I got.
60 being very much.
I got it
Capcom
for $2 because
because
someone helped out. My God.
For hardcore fans who were upset that what was seen as a long-standing DMC tenant, 60 frames per second, was now locked away on a particular format. So yeah, the reaction was not exactly what Capcom was looking for. At the end of the day, though, if Unreal 3 couldn't do 60 on consoles, then there wasn't much else they could do. Oh, right. Well, okay, so Unreal 3 could get to 60 on consoles, but only by NetherRealm Studios.
The blowback against DMC wasn't even exclusive to this game. It also managed to splash onto other games, like PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale.
Oh my God, I was so pissed off about that Dante being in the game.
Of PlayStation All-Star Battle Royale, but one of the more unfortunate choices was using DMC Dante, or
I was so pissed off.
Or whatever fan name you prefer,
when he
as
was
a playable
announced.
character in lieu of the classic white-haired look. You have a game that was supposed to be, at least fans thought, celebrating 2 decades of PlayStation titles and characters, so when the older Dante that had 3 exclusive Sony games under his belt was excluded, it was bad. It was a bad idea. It was the wrong move. This is no one paying attention here. Especially when classic Devil May Cry 3 Dante found his way into Marvel vs. Capcom in 2011. It just seemed like Capcom made a deal to advertise the upcoming game as PlayStation Not So All-Stars released at the tail end of 2012, which was not too far off the January release date of DMC a mere 2 months later. This inclusion/exclusion, again, kind of rubbed a lot of fans a lot of the wrong way when everyone's skin was already kind of raw and bloody from the previous rubdowns.
Now, with all of this ill will, Tamim drive-by comments, and the fact that Capcom never truly found their footing throughout the early HD era of gaming, it would be easy to assume DMC's launch would get a D or less in terms of style, but it wound up launching to mostly positive reviews overall. In fact, the reviews are pretty much in line with what DMC 4 initially got. However, critics still found the story predictable and a little on the nose, with paper-thin characters and silly plot twists and dialogue.
Fuck you, Dante!
So in terms of critical
Riveting
reception,
dialogue.
nothing really changed here for the better or the worse, but the commercial aspect is another story. Capcom's initial projections for DMC was to sell 2 million copies in its first fiscal year, which
How?
it did not do, and then later revised that to 1.2 million. Furthermore, for their sales report that year, Capcom stated a few reasons why they felt the releases were languishing behind their projections. And while they didn't name DMC directly, at least one of the explanations
Yes.
could be applied to the
There
problem.
is.
There was a
Delayed response to the expanding digital contents market.
and
Insufficient coordination between the marketing and the game development divisions in overseas markets.
finally there was a
Declining quality due to excessive outsourcing.
so yeah, whatever that meant.
Yep.
In fact, it took about
You know
5
what? Maybe
years
even
to
the only
reach
level,
the
good
solid
level of the
they were
game.
initially hoping for, with Capcom reporting back in the summer of 2018 that the game finally crossed the 2.4 million unit threshold, placing it far behind the 3
I can't believe
million plus
DMC
copies
reboot
DMC
sold better
4
than 1.
The main goal
I
of
can't
this
believe it
project
sold
was to
better than 1.
catapult the series to greater sales and notoriety. While it failed to do that, DMC at least did not become the dreaded entry that killed the franchise, like say the Bionic Commando reboot or Onimusha 4. Still, Capcom remained quiet on the character action front until they released the definitive edition.
Oh, speaking of which, the definitive edition's still on Steam.
2015. This had tons of gameplay improvements that fans
It's
had been
not on
vocal
Steam.
about, featured 60 frames per
It
second
never came out on
animations,
Steam.
had all the downloadable content and additional costumes bundled in, including that classic DLC costume that was available a few months after the launch of the vanilla version.
Not in a million years.
Yeah,
Oh my
I guess
God.
that million years came faster than you thought. Anyway, sometimes, definitive versions are not much better than the originals, but this is not the case here. Capcom listened to a lot of feedback and made some smart changes that truly make this the best version of DMC ever. And while that's great, it does make you wonder how much better the reboot would have done if all this new content and gameplay changes had been there day one. Furthermore, from what we can tell, the two studios are still friendly, and Itsuno has even said he would have loved to make a DMC Devil May Cry 2.
Fate would deal Itsuno another hand, a hand that would see longtime Devil May Cry fans rejoicing at last. At E3 2018, during Microsoft's conference, the announcement of Devil May Cry 5, the sequel to Devil May Cry 4, was made public after several months of rumors. Within seconds, people could see that this was ignoring the continuity of Ninja Theory's world, with the return of Dante, Nero, a bevy of new characters, and the cheesy cheekiness.
I'll do everything wrong with DMC Devil May Cry after I finish the game.
Nail in the coffin for Ninja Theory, because much like Grin and Airtight games before them, they saw their doors close after working with Cap. What? Huh? What? Oh no, that's right. Ninja Theory
DMC
was
art,
the DMC debacle. In fact, they found
it's okay in terms of gameplay, in my opinion.
Called a AAA indie title, which
It's
sounded good
okay.
on paper,
It's
but the
playable.
slow
It's
rollout of
can be
Ultimate
fun.
Sports on the PS4, PC, Xbox One, and the eventual Switch version has clearly paid dividends. This also happens to be the next directorial effort by our old friend Tamim, who has seemingly chilled out in the subsequent years.
So, yeah, Capcom didn't die. Ninja Theory are doing well, and unlike many many less fortunate IPs, Devil May Cry is still table hopping and devil triggering to this day, but it's probably safe to assume that the book on the rebooted universe is not gonna reopen anytime soon. This is a case where a misguided attempt to broaden the appeal of a series neither destroyed nor caused it to flourish, which is exceedingly rare in the video game industry. It just goes to show that Devil May Cry fans are absolutely crazy and are strong enough to endure a few bumps on the road for their favorite missile-riding, pizza-eating, guitar-playing, motorcycle-swinging series. Speaking of a few bumps in the road,
Oh
however,
God.
to see what difficulties
Oh God,
fans
Mega
had
Man.
going over some of their other
Oh
favorite
God.
franchises like
I
Mega
forgot.
Man or,
I forgot about the
Devil
thing's
Kings.
existence.
Ooh, yeah, you want to hear how Devil Kings is kind of, but actually not at all a spin-off of Devil May Cry? Why not check out the video and the link for How the West Was Worse Capcom Edition. And in the next little while, we're gonna have a part 2, an exclusive about the East versus West changes for Street Fighter and Final Fight.
Oh, Final Fight, you say? Well, I might have a few morsels of information I could contribute.
You know, I had a feeling you would, Matt. Be on the lookout for that over at Stop Skeletons from Fighting.
Derek, thank you so much for helping out in this episode of What Happened, and tell Grace thanks for her tireless research as well.
Oh, I will. You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
So, from me, Matt Muscles, and Derek, I'm wrong about Eternal Darkness Alexander.
It is not for me.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, whatever. Come talk to me when you finished Ill Bleed.
What? I need to play Ill Bleed now. I need to play Ill Bleed now. I don't even know what that was, and I need to play Ill Bleed now. What? Anyway, how much is the Ninja Gaiden collection? Oh, it's not on sale. Aw. Okay, maybe not this time. Man, it never goes on sale. Oh, should probably... Yeah, there we go. Man, the Ninja Gaiden collection never goes on sale. But once it does, I'm probably going to get it. Because I do want to play the Ninja Gaiden games. Well, yeah. I can see that for Switch, but I really want to play it on PC. Huh. Alright. Anything else I want to see real quick? You know what? After seeing that bad box art Mega Man... Hang on. After seeing that bad box art Mega Man... We have to see this. Hello? Ad? Ad, hello? There we go.
Hey, kids, just...
We have to see this. This is a personal sore spot for me.
A little PSA before we get to the many bumbles and fumbles of Cross Tekken. If you're like me, and I know I am, you enjoy bashing buttons to take out evil end bosses and their many minions, so I cordially invite you to check out The Takeover. It's a
Takeover's pretty sick. Not gonna lie, it's pretty sick.
It's been out on Steam for a few months and just launched on the Nintendo Switch, with a PS4 version coming later this summer. There's 4 playable characters, multiple endings, unlockables, and a banging soundtrack from Little V Mills and the legend himself, Yuzo Koshiro.
Yo, you have good taste, my man. I love Altered Beast. That's a great game.
If you want to know more, check out the video in the description for details on future versions and a physical release. And now, on to Mr. Ono's wild and wacky ride.
Oh no. Oh no, more like, oh no.
Hello and welcome to another face-busting, tag-teaming, money-losing episode of What Happened, the show that asks you, will you cross the line? Into finding out just what went down, up, and wrong all over with Capcom's infamous Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Now, this is an episode that's been years in the making, so make sure you've properly stretched and have all your gems set and ready to go. Okay, 20% attack. Oh, wait, no, times 5, no. Because this story is about to get downright fierce. So like many of our previous jaunts through Capcom's Hall of Shame, there's not exactly a whole lot of inside information from the front lines. It's a secretive company that more often than not is rarely plagued by problems during actual development. Very few of their in-house games run into engine trouble or some other type of technical issue. What does happen, however, is a breakdown between the developmental and marketing teams, along with the bosses at the top. It's why we have misfires like DMC, Dead Rising 4, Bionic Commando, and all the rest. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to speak to a former staff member at Capcom USA who was right in the trenches during
poor Dad.
Cross Tekken's launch, narrowly dodging fireballs, timeout victories, and disastrous marketing gimmicks. We'll be checking
Oh my
out
god, I
their
forgot about that.
It all starts, of course, with Street Fighter 4. Now, it was a huge risk making this game, which took Yoshinori Ono months, if not years, to get greenlit from those aforementioned
I
bosses
forgot about
at
the Vita
top.
touch controls for a fighting game.
Despite some gems, God, I gotta watch it with all the gem references, was certainly a genre that was in a sort of dormant phase, worlds away from the sonic boom period of the 90s. So the fact that Street Fighter 4 was such a huge success in both the arcades and especially the home consoles was a big win for Capcom and just about everybody else. It absolutely
I had the
pushed other
PS TV,
publishers
which
to
played
start
Vita
developing
games.
their own fighters once again, but no one was quicker to capitalize than Capcom themselves. The company, now happy or confident or maybe overconfident, decided to start greenlighting a bunch of other button bashers, which kind of made sense. Throughout the 90s and even the early 2000s, they had about 34 different fighting franchises all going on at the same time. Since the 90s, however, many other genres experienced their own boom periods, so there was more competition than ever before. Capcom wasted no time and began dropping hints about a new fighting game in early 2010, with many people expecting a new Darkstalkers. No.
Oh,
Just reminded myself of
pain.
But what no one expected was at that year's San Diego Comic-Con, where Katsuhiro Harada, patriarch of the Tekken clan, crashed a panel held by Ono and suddenly announced Street Fighter Cross Tekken. People were caught off guard in the best possible way. While initially seen as a bit of an odd pairing, it was nevertheless pretty damn hyped to see two universes cross over. Now, this was clearly a deal whose inception started in Japan, so when Capcom USA was let in on the secret, they were of course blown away, but there were some concerns. While it wasn't the exact crossover most of us would have imagined coming about, it was still seen as a fresh and exciting concept, especially considering there was going to be the Tekken version. How Tekken characters would play in a Street Fighter game was definitely a question, but we were riding high off the reviving of the fighting game genre just 2 years earlier. That said, there were some reservations that came about, which in hindsight were the cracks that would soon form. The main one was the insane initial sales forecast, which basically added together the user bases for Street Fighter and Tekken at the time, not considering that A, there may be some overlap, and B, there are a bunch of 09ers who weren't going to switch over from Street Fighter 4. So yes, maybe with egos slightly inflated and expectations a tad too high, Cross Tekken was pegged to be a big seller by Capcom, but why wouldn't it be? Their flagship fighter was doing well, Tekken had just launched their first game on then-current consoles, so this was going to be a slam dunk, a dragon punch, or an electric wind god fist. Right? Well, very quickly, money started to get spent, and not all of it smartly. Capcom contracted out another company to animate shitloads of CGI videos,
Which was pretty
more
cool.
than they needed. Instead of simply relying on their in-game musicians, they splurged on licensed music that also maybe wasn't needed.
470,000, sir.
Yeah?
Finally, Namco obviously would need to see some money back in exchange for the usage of their characters, so Capcom's fat stacks were quickly getting less fat. So, because of all these factors, right off the bat, this left Cross Tekken in a sort of pit that was
poison my wife.
slightly getting deeper and deeper, but it had to crawl out of to reach profitability. The former staff member I spoke to explains. The budget versus forecast was done in a way that was the opposite of how it should go. Every time the budget would increase, which would be quite a bit due to common game design bloat and things like the Polygon Pictures trailers, the forecast would need to increase to match it, without anything being added that would get us to that forecast. So we found ourselves on the marketing side having to sell more copies of the game without additional tools in which to do so, which, as you can imagine, was difficult. Maybe knowing this would become an issue, Capcom decided they would need to take steps to combat the problem head on, and to do so, they would need to increase their attack by 30% without sacrificing their speed. Gems were instituted as a way to offset all these costs. It was something that was interwoven into the game's design from a very early point, even before Capcom USA was told of the crossover's existence. Just as a reminder for those that are fortunate enough to not know or have forgotten, if you bought the special edition of the game, you got an additional like 45 gems, which is almost the amount that came with the base package. And as a follow-up to that 1-2 combo, each brick and mortar store also had their own exclusive packs of gems, with all of them being better than those shit level 1 versions for loser idiots. I mean, even PlayStation Home was gem pack. Wait, what was PlayStation Home again?
Oh my god, PlayStation Home.
Oh my god, PlayStation Home!
The first metaverse.
DLC practices Capcom was dipping their dick into during these trying years, the gem system was often seen as the most ill-conceived and transparently greedy of them all. And in a damned if you do, damned if you don't type moment, players could go gemless if they wished, which was good, because selecting them brought the pace of tournaments to a grinding halt and were eventually banned from most majors. Because of this though, gem DLC sales were exceedingly low because they simply boiled down to pay-to-win mechanics, which many people tend to hate a whole bunch. So there
was a gem that lets you break throws automatically, just an FYI.
Which wasn't great for Cross Tekken's long-term goals, because initially, gems were meant to go on for years and years and years. One of the concepts was that the gem system would become so robust that you would ostensibly have an infinite amount of fighter variations. There were ideas for very powerful gems down the line that would basically turn one character into a completely different one. They were thinking that each average player would spend $12 on gems in total, which was aggressive at the best of times. So I think it goes without saying they did not hit those numbers, and because of that, there was gem DLC for only a few months until it was quietly cancelled. Even before launch, the initial reaction to gems wasn't exactly a fan favorite, but it was only the first in a long list of things that fans were very much not favoriting. Street Fighter IV on the Xbox 360 and PS3 were essentially the same game, but things suddenly changed when Capcom revealed in January of 2012 that the PlayStation 3 version would receive 5 exclusive characters.
Mega Man, oh you poor soul.
Banned in all tournaments. This motley crew of combatants included 2 cats who were PlayStation Masters.
Yo, I like the cats, but they shouldn't have been in this game.
Remember his name. And finally, 2 men of the Pack and Mega varieties. Now, while the first 3 make sense from a mascot perspective, why was a Capcom and Namco icon Sony exclusives? Well, I'm sure it was befuddling to some back then and even today, but it was, like a lot of things in Cross Tekken, another way to mitigate costs. Capcom typically approaches both Sony and Microsoft early on.
It is a 40-year-old Mega Man.
Plan and a hope that they'll get a co-marketing deal. For Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Sony was willing to offer a ton of money for co-marketing, as again, this is hot off the heels of Street Fighter 4.
Oh, Mega Man.
Like this, there were some concessions, and this one was probably bigger than most.
Mega Man.
Mostly joke characters, and because it was forecast that the PS3 would have outsold the Xbox 360 version anyway, it seemed like like it would have had minimal competitive impact in the end.
Notice how he's not using an arm cannon, he's using a pistol.
Was that last character in the list, Mega Man, or Bad Box Art Mega Man specifically, which was its own whole huge embarrassing separate thing.
He's using a pistol and not an arm cannon.
Kind of no one's fault, but somehow simultaneously still everyone's fault. Bad Box Art Mega Man, or I think he was just called Mega Man, he was a victim of timing. When the game was being developed and when he was being added to it, Mega Man was not in a bad place. Mega Man Universe had been announced. There was Mega Man Legends 3.
Mega Man Legends 3.
In development. It was really looking like a time to celebrate Mega Man, so the team wanted to have some fun with it. And then the sequence of events happened where all 3 titles were cancelled, so it turned out to be the year of the death of Mega Man. Then they announced him for Cross Tekken, with him looking like Bad Box Art Mega Man, and without that context about when and why he was developed, it really looked like another slap in the face to Mega Man players, so again he was a victim of timing. In fact, PR in general for Cross Tekken always seemed to run into some
Oh my
type
god,
of
Cross
embarrassing
Assault.
snafu, with certain ventures, well, maybe not
Oh, Cross
the
Assault.
certainly didn't help lift the already pungent miasma that had lingered since the Big Gem reveal. Okay, so with that, we are now reaching the 3rd strike of Cross Tekken, and as I'm sure all of you are aware, it's
God,
time
I want to play
talk
Street Fighter
about
3 actually. That game's really good.
DLC. Xbox 360 versions were leaked and split wide open and out-toppled 12 DLC characters all on the disc, all essentially finished. As to why they were finished and not included in the base package, well, they were being held back as they were initially going to be timed exclusives for the Vita port.
Oh my
Remember the
god.
Vita port? Well, it was scheduled
Timed
to come out
exclusives for the
6
Vita
months after
port.
the home console launch. Apparently another part of the co-marketing deal with Sony. Now you can say a lot about Cross Tekken, and people have, but this was such a catastrophic PR nightmare for Capcom that it changed how they did downloadable content from then on out, especially for fighting games. With all the other very not good press surrounding it, Capcom moved up the launch of the DLC roster to July, as console warriors were furious they would have to wait 6 months to play with characters that were already on the disc that they had paid for due to a Vita version they didn't even want. Hackers would even go online with these characters, adding insult to injury, and I can't imagine Sony was happy about all this either. This whole disaster wasn't something that took Capcom, and especially Capcom USA, by surprise, as they correctly predicted this would happen, but wouldn't you know it, their fears were waved off. Street Fighter Cross Tekken became the poster child for on-disc DLC. There was a meeting between the production team in Japan and the marketing team in the US. We had stated people are going to find the on-disc DLC because 100% of all Xbox 360 games are cracked before launch. And the response to that was, why would anyone crack the game? That's illegal. There was a long pause, a very long pause. And then the director of marketing replied back to that with a very blunt, please remove the on-disc DLC. And the response to that was, well, if we do that, we're going to have to push the game out to April or May, and we'll have to tell Mr. Sugimoto that it was marketing's decision to push it to the next fiscal year. It very well could have been true that the work needed to remove the content would have pushed them back, but basically they were saying, we need to have this released by the fiscal year, and if not, well, that's going to screw over the company, and it's going to be your fault. So that was pretty much a direct threat. We just had to lose that battle. And lose they did! Capcom's projections for Cross Tekken were 2 million units within the launch period, but by mid-May, they'd barely moved 1.4, considerably slower than the last couple of fighting games released by either Capcom.
Why would anyone crack the game? That's illegal!
But I haven't even gotten to the actual game part of all
Oh
this
my
yet,
God.
because many fans, especially within the FGC, weren't keen on how the moment-to-moment fighting played out. Because of the way the tag system worked, a higher-than-normal final percentage of matches would be decided by timeout. Then there was Pandora, a heavily advertised comeback mechanic that no one wanted to come back to. And don't forget the incredibly distracting, sometimes unclear UI that just... For a more in-depth breakdown of all the issues players had, I suggest Stumblebee's video on the subject, as it looks more at the minutiae of all the fighting mechanics that didn't quite work at launch. So, all these factors, coupled with Capcom's DLC $ dreams being shattered, firmly planted Cross Tekken in that slippery pit with no real way to escape.
You can't escape.
What also certainly contributed to its financial failure was the competition, which was an assault that came from pretty much every angle, and somewhat ironically, came mostly from Capcom itself. Remember, the very same year Cross Tekken was announced in 2010, Capcom also revealed Marvel 3 and also
Oh my God.
Ultimate All-Stars.
Oh, those two games are really good.
Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition in 2011. That's 4 different fighting games trying to coexist all at the same time by the same company, and it simply wasn't viable. With that said, Capcom didn't give up entirely. Yeah, they canceled the thousands of gems they had planned and had to blow their character DLC load early, but they realized the game still had a lot of fundamental problems that they were committed to fixing. This brings us to Cross Tekken 2013 Edition, a way to let players know it was receiving an overhaul without having to spend money on new assets or features, because the last thing they wanted to do was spend more money that they weren't making. This patch addressed almost all complaints players had.
You know, real talk, this game's actually pretty good. Well, nowadays, not back then. But nowadays, the game's kind of an underrated gem in my opinion.
The game that should have been available at launch, and smartly, Capcom made this a free update. But once that update was issued, that's all she wrote for Cross Tekken. The 4 new Street Fighter characters that it introduced, Rolento, Hugo, Poison, and Elena, were then added to Ultra Street Fighter 4, so some smart asset reuse there. In the subsequent years, fans have since rallied around the game, especially on PC, what with its impressive modding scene, growing it to an obviously small but passionate fan base.
I came here. Oh, man!
This was only made
God, that
possible
view
with
from the
positive
cartoon.
changes seen in the 2013 update, and in terms of the core fighting game, people's views on Cross Tekken have softened because of it. Now, as for Tekken Cross Street Fighter, the Tekken-focused 3D sequel that was never officially announced and never officially cancelled, well, after the Tekken team finished Tekken 6, and then Tekken Tag Tournament 2, then Tekken 7 Arcade, then Tekken 3DS, then Tekken 7 Fated Retribution, then Tekken 7 the console version, they haven't really made any strong indication that they'll ever return to the concept. If Capcom's attempt had been a rousing success, we most likely would have seen Harada's take by now. It's odd how since this whole misfire,
Oh God, hi, banana
Capcom's
hair.
fighting efforts have struggled in some form or another.
I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
While Tekken 7 has emerged as one of the most popular fighters of the last few years, selling 5 million copies and still going strong. It's fairly easy to see a pattern here. Capcom tried to push out multiple fighting games, often in the same year, and often cannibalizing its own sales, while Tekken focused on one release at a time, riding out their success until they were ready to announce another. The former Capcom employee sums it up best in regards to the whole unfortunate situation. After all the gems and all the on-disc DLC, it made us say, what is going on with this game? And that sort of brought up the in-joke that it must have been greenlit over an ancient Native American burial ground because it was just cursed. And that was the other name we had for the game.
Yes,
It was
Darkstalkers!
Cursed
Darkstalkers!
Tekken. Nothing
Literally, they just said in this video, Darkstalkers are not dead. Well, where are they? It's been years. Darkstalkers, where are you?
Over-the-top mechanics, but due to poor planning and poor budgeting and just plain old bad luck, Cross Tekken was the partner that got sacrificed for other fighting franchises to thrive. And with that, if you know of any other
Oh God, final bout.
ups that had problematic perils, let me know in the comments below or cross the line over to the Flophouse VIP Patreon to nominate the subject of our next episode. See you next time, and thanks for watching.
God. That was a journey of things I remembered. Why would anyone crack the game? That's illegal. Oh my god, I can't believe someone actually said that in the board meeting. I'm sorry. I can't believe someone said that unironically. God, Japan is super out of touch. Well, probably not now, but back then they was super out of touch. Holy crap-a-roni. Oh my god. Oh, no. No. That's not what I wanted. Oh my god. I can't get over that. I will never get over that. Why would anyone crack the game? That's illegal. Anyway, we're gonna rate somebody. I think we're pretty good now. I think we're done. I didn't want this to be a shorter stream after all. Let's see if anyone's playing a fighting game. Because we did watch a lot of fighting games with Devil May Cry. But tomorrow is still going to be DMC4. That is still going to be a thing. Now the hope is I'm able to wake up early for it, but if not, then it's going to be the usual one. That's the hope, at least. Let's see here. Ooh, someone's playing Armored Core. You know what? That would have been another game I would have wanted to come back if it weren't for the fact they released a new one announced a new one recently. I really like Armored Core. Gotcha, Pinata. Okay, what do I want? Do I really? I almost want to put. Why would anyone crack the game? That's illegal as the hashtag, but I don't know if that's okay. I almost want to put that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. I love that so much. You know what? How about we just... Why would anyone crack the game? That'll do. Oh, Only Bats is also really good. They're both really good, actually. You know what? I think Only Bats is better. Just because it's more simple than why would anyone crack the game? I think Only Bats makes more sense. Okay, hang on. I will get that raid target soon enough. I just need to fix something real quick. Okay. Let's just do oh, I didn't save it. Ah, crap. Hang on. I will find that Armor Core streamer. There you are. Okay.
I can think correctly.
So, we're going to be rating the Wintry Night right here. And we're going to be rating with Only Bats because I think that's really good. Alright, so... Hang on. Okay. On the count of 3, we're gonna send. Just gonna wait for everyone to be ready. Just gonna give it a few minutes. Like 1 or 2 minutes. Alright. 3? Actually, no. We'll give it like a minute. I can give it like a minute. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay. Next stream is going to be tomorrow, guys. We're going to be playing some Devil May Cry 4. And I hope to see you guys next time. See you guys later.